give me a moment. Bop, bop, bop. Okay, now you should hear me much clearer. Hello again, Elin community and Discord. This is part 2 of the tips video. There will be a few more advanced tips and also some spoiler tips, but I will put a warning there. So let's get to the video. When crafting, you might have noticed that some of the recipes require big leaves. For example, the tightrope. In order to get big leaves, you need to go to the beach and find some palm trees. You need to chop them down in order to get big leaves. Vending machines, such as those in Aquatiola, commonly sell panties, and sometimes even love potions. In Mycelia, you can find the older younger sister. She is currently looking for her lost sibling. If you answer her questions correctly and give her 10,000 orens, she will join your party. Here are the answers. For the first one, you want to answer non-blood related older sister. For the second one, everything. For the third one, her smile. For the fourth one, snow petite. For the fifth one, to be together forever. She will then ask you for her 10,000 oren allowance, and if you agree, she will join your party. When exploring in the wild, or perhaps you are going into a dungeon, you might find a luck statue. You recognize it on those very big boobies. After activating it, you get an item called Fragrance of the Goddess. You can see if you have the Fragrance of the Goddess under your journal in Key Items. When you have it, you have a very small percentage to obtain a wish after drinking from a well or a water dispenser. But you can only wish once per year, and you cannot stack those Fragrance of the Goddess. Instead, you will get an item called Black Cat Saliva that enhances your wish power. Even after wishing, that Black Cat Saliva will remain, and you can stack them as much as you want. If you are new and you do not know what to wish for, a personal recommendation would be a boat or a king's bed. They increase your housing ranking of your land, simply by just existing. Having a high housing ranking gives you a monthly salary, and it's a good way to deal with early taxes. Here is a tip to get some good early game armor. If you go to Durfee, you can enter the Thieves Guild via the back entrance. In there, you find a completely unguarded room full of gold. We want to mine that gold and get all that gold stone. After we are done mining, we go back to our base, craft ourselves a hammer, and then dismantle the gold. That will revert it back to its origin material. We can then use that gold in order to craft ourselves some early game gold armor on the masonry table. When going to Palmyra, You might want to take a visit to the mayor and get the salary transfer policy. It's free. This is great because this policy will allow us to transfer our salary directly to the bank. Combine this policy now with the transfer tax policy that you get from leveling up your hearthstone in order to automate our tax payment. This means the money we get from our king's bed that we wished for earlier will be transferred to the bank, and then the money from the bank will be used in order to pay our tax. When your tax becomes too difficult to pay or the monsters are too strong, you might want to look for an informer. You can find them in village, towns, and cities. The informer allows you to sell your fame, and the lower fame means lower tax and lower monsters. North of Palmyra, you find the Truce grounds with all the gods from the pantheon, and you can also find a generator ready for the taking. Take it. You might encounter in the wild what's called an evolved monster. They are basically like boss monsters, but with extra abilities. After defeating them, they will drop a gene, and they might even have a gene with their abilities on it. If you are having trouble with your items being destroyed, you might want to consider buying some Fireproof blanket and Coldproof blanket. You can usually buy them on a general store. If you don't know how to get an altar of your god to your base, you can try getting a luck altar. They are relatively easy to carry. After getting them to your home, you can convert them to your own god's altar by offering your own offerings to that altar. The more you offer at once, the more likely it is to convert the altar to your own god. When you are worshipping a god or goddess, you get a buff related to that god that increases your skills and attributes. It might even give you a special ability. You can get also additional benefits and make your existing one stronger by increasing your piety. Piety is a hidden stat that you cannot see, and this is capped by your faith, which means if you have 5 faith, you can only have 5 piety, and if you have 10 faith, you can only have 10 piety. You can see how close you are to reaching that cap by looking at the text prompt at the bottom, notifying how far you are from your god. Once it says you feel a sense of oneness with your god, you reach the maximum amount of piety you can obtain. Additionally, at 15 piety, you get the apostle of your god, and at 30 piety, you get their artifact. Both of them are permanent. Rest of your base, you might find a place called Little Garden. In there, you can find an NPC called Big Sister. She will tell you a bit about angels, and if you look at her shop, she's going to sell you some little one balls. I will tell you now what they are used for. In the wild or a dungeon, you sometimes encounter a neutral NPC called Big Daddy. If you defeat that enemy, you can find a cute little girl falling out. You now have 2 options. The first option is to use the little one ball that you got and capture her. Then you bring her to Little Garden, where we can see that little girl and the big sister being very happy and grateful for the rescue. This will give you some influence to buy an e-figure or some rare items. Your second option instead of capturing her would be to murder her. This is a good thing, because after murdering her, we're going to get her meat, which has a special trait called Adam. That's great, because if we now take a look at my attribute and their base potential, we see that it is currently 80. Now, we want to eat that meat. If we now look again, you can see that my base potential increased to 85. And as a chaos shape, I get an additional bonus of the Adam trait, called You Are Evolved. Other races do not get that evolved, but they can still increase their base potential by up to an additional 50 that way. However, be warned, this might make Little Garden a tiny bit upset about you, and you might need to rescue a ton of little ones in order to compensate. But it's possible. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye!